Mr. H has a huge love for ice cream, while like myself. He'd stop by the house and hand me a Dairy Queen sundae.
Nice.
So he pulls up in the driveway unannounced, walks into the garage, comes in, sits down the Dairy Queen, doesn't see my dirt bike. Got away with one. We're leaving, I'm walking him out to his car. He's climbing in the front seat of his car to drive away. And he goes, hey, hold on a second. Whose motorcycle is that in your garage? And I was like, oh, it's a friend's. He goes, okay, hold on. Your friend parks his motorcycle in your garage? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and your friend put the number 48 on his motorcycle that's parked in your garage?
He's a really close friend.
And I looked at him and he goes, don't lie to me. Let's sell that anyway. And I was like, yes, sir.
It was funny seeing how many guys yesterday at the end stopped like 10, 15, 20 minutes early because they're like, everybody's just being assholes up there. Like, this is day one. What are we doing here?
All I was doing was on the radio, and I'm like, I gotta stop doing that. It was just
It's
just nonstop.
Yeah. And it's gonna be like that from 4 to 6 every single day. It's the same shit until carb day.
Okay.
And then carb day, everyone's actually just trying to go. Carb day is the first day where it actually feels like what it's gonna be like on race day.
Gotcha.
And everybody's gonna be close on tires, close on fuel. We're up to this point, like some guy joins the group. He's like, "This guy's driving through the field." Yeah, he's on half tanks and new tires. Like, you don't know what everybody's doing. Right? It's so hard, man. It's so hard to stay focused on what you're working on because everyone's on a different program.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
No, that's true. I feel like in the Cup cars, Daytona, Talladega was a similar environment. And Canals always believed in just single car runs.
Really?
It's like, we'll just tweak the car. If we make it faster by ourselves, at least we know what these changes are, instead of putting you into this draft and you don't know what's going on. And we'd do that a lot. And kind of build confidence in it. So as we started doing single car runs yesterday, especially with those minor changes, I'm like, this is really good. Like, we're actually learning.
Yeah. Right. Everyone else is just out there going for the glory lap or doesn't want to lead, falling back. That's the other thing. Some guys, they don't pay their dues at the front of the line. You got to tow for 2 laps, 3 laps, and then fall back. Some guys will pass up there, next straightaway to the back. It's like, come on, man, play the game.
202 a couple times just because the guys up front were like not wanting to go.
You're like down to third gear. You're like,
totally.
what is happening,
what
man?
What is going on?
So, like, when you would do that in Cup at a place like Daytona or Talladega, and you would do the single car runs to make your own car faster, is it less? Obviously, it's affected in traffic, but like, is it less of a difference out front in the pack? So you don't have to necessarily tune the car for in the pack, because if it's quick out front, it's just naturally going to be a better car in the traffic.
It was, I mean, the draft is the draft, and it's a different element, but to at least feel these minor changes, because we would run through toe sweeps as well in the Cup car. We would, have a different kind of situation in the front of the car, and just trying to help the car follow the transitions into the corners, because in Daytona and Talladega you have big transitions in and off, and the tri-oval, that's where the car is most comfortable. So in the draft, it's always going to be tricky, but if we could figure out and sense and feel the car in a single car run, that it was better through the transitions, and we would have to go off photos, because we didn't have data. We literally had paid photographers with big zoom lenses grabbing pictures of each run. And we could at least build some confidence that we were directionally improving the car. And we just built stock in it. And after a few years of doing it, we got really comfortable with it. It was fine with it. And then we kind of understood the balance that we needed from single car to.
Have you found that driving these things, driving the Indy cars, everything seems like it happens, not that it happens faster, but the movements, all the inputs are a lot smaller? Have you kind of found that you've had to tune yourself into feeling smaller changes, smaller differences in what the car's doing?
Totally.
Is everything
faster. It is way faster.
You notice that speed, eh? Like, you notice it discernible. Going to Texas, for example, it feels like a different track.
The G-forces, your seating position in the car,
right?
All of it, your vision, especially with the canopy on the car, the aero screen, all of it just sets you up to feel like Falcon, just ripping along. So it feels so fast. And then I guess the best example here is in a Cup car. One, we would brake for 1 and 3.
Right. Yeah. Good call. That's different for sure.
It's not doing that. But we needed every inch of the track. So from turn-in was this big, quick, hard movement to try to get the car to the apex. weren't there long, and your eyes were quickly up on corner exit for 1 and 3, just wondering if you were going to make it. Where the IndyCar, and Dario's been working with me on this, it's like, it's going to make the turn. You can run outside the white line if you want.
Right.
It's just when you put those subtle movements into the car, and it'll do it. So I've been trying to kind of retrain my muscle memory to not have this big moment off the wall.
Right.
One, it's going to really upset an IndyCar for sure. But two, I think it's just a different animal, and you need these little subtle movements, and the car will respond and change directions.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's I don't think people understand how different. Well, Parker Kligerman and I were talking about this the other day. What you're doing it's akin to like saying that golf and hockey are the same sport. Yeah, there's a stick and you're hitting something, but that's about where it ends.
Yeah.
What was the motivation to after a 20-plus year career in stock cars, try something so different?
One, this was my original dream as a kid, and when I got associated with Chevrolet coming up through the off-road ranks, this was the plan. It was Trans Am, Indy Lights, IndyCar. One of my meetings at the Long Beach Grand Prix that I had in the late 90s with the Chevrolet folks, like, we're not coming back to IndyCar. If you want a future in motorsports, you literally need to move to North Carolina and figure out NASCAR. And a week later, I had a one-way ticket to North Carolina. I've been there ever since. So that was kind of the main reason for it. But you know, the thing that really kind of lit a spark to it all is when Zach Brown and Fernando Alonso agreed to doing a car swap in 2018. And I had a chance to drive the F1 car in Bahrain. And I was like, oh my God, like that was incredible, just flat out incredible. And for a hot minute, I was like trying to see if because I'm obviously a U.S. driver, there's some way that I could end up over there. No chance. But then, you know, talking with Zach, it was like, come try the IndyCar, just see if you like it. And we were close to having that take place. COVID hits. That kind of loses a little momentum. I chat with Chip. Chip's like, yeah, we'll put you in the car and let's try it. So once I came actually to the Indy GP course in 2020, the summer of 2020 when things started to loosen up, I again had this experience in the car that was so fun. I mean, the performance of the car is so high, and as a racer, I never felt those G-forces, the stopping power, the excel, and it was just an experience I wanted to have more of.
Do you think that test like pushed you in that direction? Like, would you have just signed up blindly without having driven the car?
No, I wouldn't have. And I think I was a little naive in thinking I'd be closer to on pace. But at the same time, I knew it was going to be a very difficult struggle to be at the fastest side of the field.
Right. I think you always accepted the size of the challenge.
I did.
Like, you respect the people that.
I didn't think I would be like qualifying last every week,
but you look at it the other way around, right? Look when Dario went over to stock cars.
Right.
Look when AJ went over. Look when Montoya went over. Like it took AJ 5-6 years, I think, before he probably would admit that he was comfortable enough that if he was in the right car, could run.
I think that 5-year window is fair.
Yeah.
And especially in today's world when testing just doesn't exist like it did before. I think that 5-year number is pretty legit. And I'm not sure if you saw the footage of Magnussen and Schumacher.
Yeah, I just saw this morning, yeah.
You know, to hear their comments just about how different the NASCAR vehicle is. They just drove that 2-seater for those that haven't seen it. The Haas group held a NASCAR-style test at the Roval in Charlotte, and to hear their comments was...
Yeah, Max was like, I missed the chicane 3 out of 4 laps. Like, could not in my mind comprehend how I had to brake the car to get off the corner.
Their remarks about the car not stopping and how early the braking points were really funny.
Did you not want to slow down at some point, or was this slowing down compared to a Cup schedule?
This is slowing down compared to a Cup schedule for sure. I was kind of surprised how far off I was and how much I needed to apply myself through sim, ran a bunch of F3 stuff. So I quickly, my wife and I joke, like I didn't retire, I didn't slow down. Actually, I was busier for a stretch of time there, which is great because I didn't realize at the time, but when I announced that I was going to retire in 2019, I truly felt done.
Right.
I didn't know that it was more that chapter was closing, and that I still wanted to work, and I still genuinely want to be behind the wheel of a race car. I was filming something recently with Blake Shelton for a TV show that he has coming out that everybody's going to love. It's called Armageddon, which was a lot of fun.
I love the sound of that.
It's what you expect it to be.
Right,
it's fantastic. And he had a guitar sitting behind him. We're sitting there chatting, and he's like, man, why? And I was like, do you think you'll ever stop playing that guitar? He's like, no, of course not. I'm like, that's like drivers to their race cars. Like, I'll never want to stop driving. Like, it's just who I am, what I've always done. So, kind of back to my point, I felt like I was done, but in all reality, I was just ready for a change. And that was hard to admit. Drive for Indy Motorsports, having the team that I did, the support from Ally, Cliff Daniels as my crew chief, like that whole world that I had going on, it was really tough to walk away, but I thought I was done. And then this experience started with the IndyCar and a wonderful opportunity with Ganassi and all that it is, and Carvana jumped on, and it's like, okay, here we go.
Here we go. All right, well, here, we got a couple photos. The 4 turns, we have 4 pictures here, and they all lead to something that I want to touch on. So I think which one we should start with. Let's start with this one. It's kind of appropriate. So tell people what you're looking at here, because in my mind, that's the moment where you said, no, I think I'm going to do it.
You're 100% right. And Steve Lutart, who's sitting next to me there in the booth, the first session that I was able to watch, and that was on NBC, before the cars hit the track, he looked at me and he said, all right, I know you, we know each other very well, obviously. He's like, I know you, I know drivers. When the pack goes by, one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to want to be in one, or you're going to be happy you're sitting where you are.
Yeah.
The cars went by, and he looked at me and he goes, "And?" I said, "I want to be A." That was the start of it.
All right, so talk me through why the decision to not run the ovals the first year, and then how that decision changed for the second year.
I truly did not want to be on the ovals for the
why?
Safety.
Just okay.
Safety.
Fair.
My longtime attorney is a guy named Alan Miller, which you know and many people do know, and a lot of the drivers that he has lost in his tenure as an attorney and representing drivers have been on the oval here in IndyCar.
Right.
And watching from afar, and then of course with Danny's incident, I just made a decision that it wasn't for me. It wasn't worth it. Being around the cars in 21, understanding the aero screen, being a commentator and watching Pelot hammer the fence and running over to him like, how'd it feel? It hurt,
Interesting.
Give me some feedback. And he's like, I didn't love it, but it's not as bad as it looks. So I started building my case, and I say building my case because I had to go home and delicately kind of position this to my wife that I've got this great idea. Because she's only trusted
great idea.
everything that I said for the 10 years prior to it. Like,
Right.
No way, it's not for me. And now all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I think this might be for me.
Interesting. How'd that conversation go?
She's a rock star. It was great. I mean, she's like, look, she's like, I'm going off you. If you're comfortable, I'm comfortable. And then I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, making sure that I was very sure that it was in the comfort window that I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's why we tested Texas and then did the ROP. I got to a spot where, by the end of last year, by fall, I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And we still had so many hurdles to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, TK's planning to be in the car, sponsors, and TK's understanding as a friend that it's something that I should do. I will never forget. I mean, he truly championed this whole thing, and was such a team player and a great friend through it all.
That's such a cool thought. I didn't even think about the fact that you would have had that conversation with Pelot. Like, he had a big wreck. So,
yeah. Hey, buddy, tell me.
The bad?
What's it like?
He's got to not tickle when you hit the wall in a cup car, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And thankfully, I haven't really hit a wall very hard yet. But when you look at a cup car, there's a lot of room for things to
A lot of crumple
bend
structure,
and absorb the energy. If toothpicks holding tires on the car, one of these things. So I formed my own opinions of what it was going to be like.
Yeah, it's probably, you're not wrong. You're going a bit faster, a little less stuff to absorb. Fair enough. Okay, I want to see if you're going to know what the picture is, but I'm wondering if you know where we found it.
I do. That's actually my first Instagram post ever.
That's where we got it.
Yeah, that is Blackberry Farm up in Tennessee.
You talk about your rock star wife.
Yeah.
that's a partnership that's pretty admirable, man, because you talk about how the Cup schedule is insane. You did that for a number of years.
Yeah.
Then you decide to slow down, which didn't really work out as planned. And the whole time you just got this partner by your side that's ride or die, support everything. That's a really, really cool thing. I think a lot of people will be envious of that.
For sure, and I think you live it as well, to have a partner that supports you or me to be who we are. And I met Shani when I was racing, and so she.
How far into your career were you?
My rookie year in Cup.
Okay.
And she, this is all she knows.
But she knew what she was signing up for.
That's exactly right. That's I guess what the phrase I was looking for, and she's used that before, but. I do believe she felt like it was slowing down, and she was a bit caught off guard. But between her support and my kids, and then of course us as parents trying to lead by example for our kids, this has been an amazing couple of years to show the kids. It's about being passionate. It's about fighting for something that you want to do and believe in, and supporting each other. My wife started up her art gallery 7 years ago now. And it's had great success, and it's growing wildly. And at times, I honestly think that my wife's busier than I am now.
Really?
So for our kids to see two working parents, both of us pursuing our passions, supporting each other, we're busier than we probably want to be, but we're in a really good spot. And she is my biggest fan, and I'm hers as well.
It's so cool. It's such a cool thing that you got going on there. And there's another aspect of your lifestyle that I always was just blown away by. And, in all of my contracts, we had what was called the no fun clause. Okay? And we dug up this photo, which was taken a few days, maybe a few weeks before you were fighting for yet another Cup championship.
It was a few days.
And, historically speaking, Jimmy, people on mountain bikes break stuff. And that's what you're doing before you go try and fight for a championship. So please explain to me how, A, you're allowed to do this, and B, why you want to do this in the middle of the season.
I do have that clause in my contract.
I just don't care.
Mr. Hendrick was and is an extremely understanding man. And at one point, especially when social media was ramping up, and he could see, and I was posting, I probably shouldn't have posted as much as I did, but he would hear about it, somebody would show it to him, and he'd always make me promise that I was being smart. I'm like, of course, boss, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you don't want to miss a race, that's not.
But he'd always say, he goes, look, I can't expect you just to sit in a rubber room and not do anything, but please be careful. Right. So, I tried my best, and, I did hit the ground a few times on my mountain bike, and had to.
Did you ever break anything?
I had some ribs really bother me at one point in my career.
Mid-season?
Yeah. If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. I learned that at a young age.
That's the rule, right?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, where's the mountain bike thing? Are you just an adrenaline junkie in general? Or do you love cycling?
Well, I grew up racing motocross. So
right, yeah, you started on two wheels, didn't you?
Two wheels, mountain bikes. I do have a funny Mr. Hendrick story with a dirt bike. So I think probably my sophomore, junior year of being in Cup, I had a dirt bike sitting in my garage at my house, and his daughter lived just a couple of blocks away from us at the time. And Mr. H has a huge love for ice cream, like myself. And when he would be at the track in the motorhome lot, he would come knock on the door, hey, what ice cream do you have? And we'd just demolish ice cream left and right. So when he would go visit his grandchildren and he'd swing by Dairy Queen, he'd stop by the house and hand me a Dairy Queen sundae.
Nice.
So he pulls up in the driveway unannounced, walks into the garage, comes in, sits down the Dairy Queen, doesn't see my dirt bike. Got away with one. We're leaving him, walking him out to his car. He's climbing in the front seat of his car to drive away. And he goes, oh, hey, hold on a second. Whose motorcycle is that in your garage? And I was like, oh, it's a friend's. And he goes, okay, hold on. Your friend parks his motorcycle in your garage? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and your friend put the number 48 on his motorcycle that's parked in your garage?
He's a really close friend.
And I looked at him and he goes, don't lie to me. Let's sell that damn thing. And I was like, yes, sir. So I did put the motorcycle away for
So that was, I was going to say, was there a line that you would draw?
Yeah, I didn't ride a dirt bike for probably 10 or 15 years. And then towards the end,
really?
I'd ride a little bit in the spring and fall.
Okay.
Really cool track near our house, a couple tracks. And then my kids started riding. So I would go out there and tiptoe around.
You mean these kids?
Those kids. That was a fun day. Downhill mountain biking, and those two just rocking. And you got to see them on skis. I mean, skis is
really
very impressive.
Have you always been a big skier?
One of my best friends growing up in high school, his family skied, and we were at that age where I was able to take a buddy, and I went with their family. It's not something my family did, but they were tremendous on skis and taught me how to ski, got me into it, and I was hooked from that point on.
So, I mean, did these two have the Johnson adrenaline gene? Are they just are they as crazy as you are?
They're both adrenaline junkies. I think my oldest is much like my wife, and there's a very large risk assessment taken before they engage. But once they're in it, I mean, they're Shani and Genevieve are very athletic and can ski and really do anything. Where Lydia's more like me, and she sees something rip by, she's like, oh, I can do that.
Ready, fire, aim. Yeah, ready, fire, aim. Exactly. That's really cool. It's cool you get to kind of do these things together. Has it been is it a challenge raising a family, doing what you do? The schedule that you keep and the inherent risk involved. Was that ever something that crossed your mind, or how's being a dad been as a racing driver?
The risk side, I haven't been overly worried. I would say moving into IndyCar, there was more of a worry, and I was aware of that. But I feel like there are many privileges that come with being a race car driver, and certainly the career that I had. So I don't think that my challenges are any different. I think that other families probably have it much more difficult in many respects. But parenting isn't easy. Like, it isn't. I mean, my wife and I joke about the free time that we used to have, and we thought we were busy prior to kids, and then now we're in 5th grade and in 2nd grade, and their schedules are building, and we're just chauffeurs all the time.
Right.
And and it's all stuff that every parent deals with.
Yeah.
And I just have so much admiration and respect for parents that are in the grind and trying to raise good humans. I mean, it's just not easy.
Future race car drivers here?
I don't think so.
No?
They're both big in their horses and equestrian riding. My youngest has a bit of the bug, but I'm not sure if we'll see. I'm not sure.
See. When'd you get into bourbon?
Bourbon?
Let's talk real shop now.
So thank you. I love this. I had a failed attempt with bourbon. Of course, I was 21.
Oh, really?
Of course, I was 21 when this happened. I was super sick. And then I had a departure from bourbon for a long time.
Okay.
And I grew up in Southern California, so tequila was kind of the move.
Right.
But then Shani came home with a cocktail book one winter and said, hey, let's build up our bar.
Yeah.
And let's start to finish, let's build up these cocktails. So on the weekends, we'd sit down, make simple syrup, and get all the tools.
Go through them all, figure out which ones you like. Yeah.
So 80% of the drinks were bourbon drinks. So I worked my way back into bourbon, and then I was like, okay,
starting with cocktails, and then slowly start removing ingredients, and then you remove ice, and then you're just sipping it 2 fingers
down
to
like
the way it's supposed to.
Need still a tricky one for me.
Oh, really?
I need a cube in there, or it's just got to be chilled, like the hot perspective.
Right.
Kind of hits me. But now, as you know, I have a nice collection, and I'm still waiting for my barrel to be bottled. They say it's been bottled. We're just waiting for it to ship so that I can reciprocate. He was nice enough to give me a bottle from his blend, his barrel that Jamaica a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was 2020.
2020. So I can't wait to reciprocate.
And then we just did a Buffalo Trace pick.
That's right.
I think we'll get that in September or something. So
I still haven't opened your bottle. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to save a moment for it. Like, I don't know
That's fair.
what that should be.
That's fair. Next time I'm in Charlotte, we'll open it.
Let's do it.
We can do that. Never wanted to get into the bourbon business?
I actually am in the bourbon business. I am involved with a startup bourbon called Frank August, and it's just hitting 5 markets, hitting the shelves of 5 markets this month. And then there's another opportunity that I have where we're inventorying quality juice and aging it. So we have access to barrels, aging it, and then looking for folks that need quality juice in a hurry.
Not a bad way to do it.
No. Two different strategies, and who knows? Maybe the Frank August group will need this juice once it's of age, so it could really work out well.
Was that always other businesses something that you had time or interest in pursuing, you know, like in the thick of your Cup career, or did it not really, is it not really an interest to you, or does it not really matter now that you're slowing down, you're doing more of this stuff?
I've always been interested, and I've always wanted to be smart with investing and trying to create a solid future. But one thing I was really scared of was myself.
Dude,
think about how many stories you see or read about these athletes that made tons of cash.
Have you seen Broke, the 30 by 30 documentary
yes, actually,
on ESPN?
30,
The year I signed my first contract where I was making money, I saw that and I was terrified. I didn't spend $1 outside of what I had to survive for like 2 years because I was terrified of being that guy.
So I really took the strategy of, we have a chance to meet very smart people and successful people, and just figure out how to kind of dovetail or piggyback some of these opportunities that seem more safe, lower risk factor. And I also thought that I was making it at a much higher rate than I ever expected to, and my risk was taken in the car that I need to do more conservative investing.
Yeah.
So that was my strategy through the peak of my earning. And then now that I'm later in life and I have more connections, I'm taking a few more risks than I typically would.
Was there one that like you specifically wanted to do? Like if you always wanted a restaurant, maybe you have, I don't know what you have, but like obviously the bourbon one, but is there anything that you always wanted to do that you either are doing now or is still on the cards at some point?
The restaurant idea did come to fruition. I'm involved with Mexican. There's actually 5 businesses inside this larger building space that we have in Charlotte. The restaurant is called Southbound, and then we have a speakeasy, a barber shop, an outdoor concert facility, and an indoor concert. So I mean, it's a cool little compound, and it's taken quite some time to kind of get it up to where it needs to be. And then the growth pattern of all these young folks moving is kind of come in, and it's rocking right now. But I've always thought that I would do a tequila line. I'm a big tequila fan, but now it's turned into a bourbon thing, and being a bourbon fan. So, you know, I'm always keeping an open eye, but a few of those high-level things I've been interested in, I'm now currently involved in.
And then from a driving standpoint, anything else, any other boxes to check? Or is Indy 5, I mean, Daytona 24, you did that. Obviously everything, stock car you could possibly do, you did. You're now doing the greatest spectacle in racing, the biggest race in the world. Is there anything else now that's on the bucket list?
This has been the top one to check, and again, I thought it was going to happen. I would say Le Mans is still on the list, and that's kind of the bucket list in like single events and cars and such.
Right.
But I think there's still a lot of desire to compete. But I think the next phase for me could really be about these more meaningful moments and trying to go racing again with old crew members. Drivers that I've raced with in the past.
Right.
One that comes to mind is Jimmie Johnson. We were teammates in stadium off-road truck racing and off-road outdoor desert racing. He's still out there racing off-road desert trucks. It'd be so great to go back and share a truck
or something.
Share a truck with him, and then there's so many friends in various forms of racing. I think that emotional piece and maybe not being at the pointy end of the spear at the highest level of racing, but going back and really just racing to have fun.
Yeah, now you're just doing it for Jimmie, and not, it's not the, like you say, it doesn't be the most professional thing. You're doing it for fun. You're doing it for the love of it.
Yep.
So you're not like taking up professional archery or anything anytime soon.
No.
Because I feel like you could if you wanted to.
Well, I appreciate your confidence in me.
Well, hey man, thanks for coming up. Appreciate it.